So that would be absolutely fine, but it does mean you can watch it back at a later date and talk to and listen to what any of our students had to say, basically. But today we will be covering what it's like to be a PE, a football coaching or a sports coaching student here at the University of Chichester. First of all, my name is Gabby and I work in the student recruitment and outreach team, and I'm joined by 2 of our ambassadors here. So I'll let you guys just quickly introduce yourselves and then we'll kind of get started with the presentation. Ethan, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm Ethan Sampson. I'm a second year student and I study football coaching and performance.
Nice.
I'm Chloe and I'm a third year sports science and coaching student.
Perfect. So how today's going to work is basically we'll run through this little presentation, which will just look at our ambassadors' experiences here. And then at the end of the presentation, we'll open it up to any questions that people may have. Feel free to put questions in the chat box as we go, but we will probably cover them towards the end of the presentation anyway. But yeah, feel free to put them in as and when you think of any questions. So first of all, Chloe and Ethan here study a couple of our courses that we offer, but we have loads of other ones within the sport area in general. These ones on the screen are more of the sort of coaching and teaching ones that we offer, but we also do some more sports science elements and routeways as well. So first of all, thinking way back before you came to university, Chloe, we'll start with you. What sort of steps did you take before joining university? Did you go and visit places? Did you have your heart set on one place? What kind of was your process in terms of joining?
Well, Chichester was only really the only university I looked at. It was recommended to me by my neighbour, who's like a year older than I am. And he came and looked here and they looked at some of the courses and he came back and said that there was a few courses here that he thought actually would be really good for me. And I came and did a couple of open days and looked around. And then I did originally apply for outdoor ed, and then changed my mind and moved to sports science and coaching. But I definitely came and had a look and kind of like looked at the website and came and looked around, and it was definitely kind of like what I was looking for.
Yeah. And Ethan, did you have a similar process, similar experience? How was yours?
I think initially I didn't plan on coming to uni. I wanted to get an apprenticeship in football coaching, but at the time with COVID and stuff, it wasn't quite possible. And then again, yeah, I think I was looking at other universities, but I ended up coming to an open day and speaking to the people and students and lecturers. And I think in terms of what the university offered, I think for me, that was the thing that kind of pulled me towards this university.
Yeah. And how did, Ethan, we'll start with you. How did you feel about going to university? Because you said it wasn't your initial plan. So how did that change how you felt about it, or were you still quite happy?
I was extremely positive about it. I think I changed my mind on where I would. Well, I changed my mind on coming to Chichester last minute as well. So I think it was a bit like, I'm gonna come. No, I'm gonna go here. Then last minute I said, actually, this feels right. Because it felt right, I think it just made my experience a lot more positive and obviously stressful, but more exciting and a happier kind of.
Yeah.
I think I felt.
Yeah. And Chloe, how did you feel going to university?
It was like I was excited to come. It was a little bit stressful because I did leave it a little bit last minute to sort things out. But no, I wanted to come. I'd been working full time and I was just kind of like, no, I need to do something else and something that's going to help me like progress. So I felt quite like good about coming. Like it's what I wanted to do.
That's good. Did you find that the actual move-in process was straightforward for you? Like, how did you find that first week? Skipped a couple pages there. Was the actual moving in process, did you guys move into halls of residence, or did you decide to commute? Chloe, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I moved straight into a house. I kind of like took a risk and found a house that was looking for that needed one more person. And I moved in with second years. One of them was already on a sports course. She was on sports therapy, and I kind of met them beforehand, and I moved in with them, and it was great. Like there was no issues, and it was quite nice moving straight into a house, like had my own room.
Yeah.
kind of like my own place to be at when I wasn't at university.
Yeah. How about you, Ethan? Did you live in halls of residence, or did you have a slightly different experience?
Yeah, so I went straight into halls. I was at Stockbridge.
Yeah.
The fun place, I'd say. Yeah. No, I think that was probably one of the most exciting things, because you're thinking, oh, who am I going to live with? What's my room going to be like? Am I going to meet people? Am I not going to meet people? And I think being in an environment like that, where there's nearly 400 students in the same place, I think it's easy to meet like-minded people and make friends. And I think I've made quite a few friends being at Stockbridge. And I think potentially if I didn't have that experience or live somewhere else, maybe I wouldn't have met some of the people that I met. So I'd say that is probably one of the most exciting things about moving into halls. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. So do you guys have any top tips when it comes to deciding which university is the best for you? They can obviously be your own experiences or something you wish you'd done that you would recommend other people do instead. Ethan, do you want to start on this one?
Yeah, so I'd say be annoying. So I think I was annoying to my lecturers and the head of my course, just asking questions. Even like when I wasn't too sure, asking for like a phone call, 10 minutes, just ask any questions that I have. Because at the end of the day, it's about you. You're getting a student loan, and you're going to have to pay it back. So I think ultimately you need to make sure that the decision is right for you, and you need to make sure everything is what you want it to be. Know where you're going to be living, so you can start to plan ahead, 6 months ahead. Okay, the supermarket's here. There's a place to go out with my friends here, so know what to expect, know what's coming. And yeah, so be annoying and be prepared. I think that's my thing.
Yeah. And Chloe, have you got anything different that you would recommend?
Definitely go and visit universities and go to open days and like go and see the facilities and the lecturers and the courses and see what they have to offer. And definitely visit the local area. I wish I'd done that a bit more before coming, because it was like when I first moved here, I was a bit like, oh, I don't really know where anything is. So that's something I would definitely recommend, but also definitely go and like visit universities and, as Ethan said, like ask them questions, go to open days, taster sessions, because it kind of gives you a really good feel for what you're going to then expect and what you're going to get when you come to uni.
Yeah, perfect. So sort of moving slightly more onto your personal experiences on your different courses and stuff. What was your first sort of couple of weeks? So you have Freshers Week in the first week, so you can touch on that as well. But then what were your first couple of weeks of teaching like as well, once you'd actually got onto your course and into your classes and stuff like that? Chloe, do you want to start on this one?
It was quite nice living with second years because they kind of told me what to expect a little bit. And then it was like when you first come to university, everybody's in the same boat. So in my lessons and everything, like everyone was new, not many people had ever been to university before, so we were all kind of like in the same boat, experiencing the same thing. And it was quite nice, like you kind of made friends with people on your course and made friends with people from similar courses, and it was just quite like an easy transition. Like it was made quite an easy transition in the first couple of weeks.
Yeah. Would you agree with that, Ethan? How did you find the transition to university?
Yeah, I think for me, I found it quite easy. I think naturally I'm a confident person, so I think I kind of went out of my way to go and talk and meet people. But I think the university, especially in Freshers Week, if you're not so confident, they put on events and different things throughout the day with your course mates, classmates, and obviously stuff in the evenings for you to go and meet people. So I think they support that really well. And I think the rest is for you, really. And I think the first week as well, I think they ease you into the academics quite well. I think they ease you into meeting people really well as well. So again, I'd say it was really smooth. So yeah.
Yeah. I think that the as well an important part is that everyone's experiences will be slightly different. So it doesn't matter if your transition to university isn't as smooth as someone else's. Everyone's experiences are still valid, and that's just going to happen throughout life, of course, but especially coming to university as it's such a big thing. So talking about coming to university, what was sort of your biggest concerns? There's a few on the board that you can either on the presentation that you can either touch upon, or if you had something completely different. Ethan, maybe we'll start with you on this one. Would you say you had one sort of biggest overriding concern, or were you pretty just laid back and happy to see what happened?
My biggest concern, I think, I've always, I think, so I've always been in a place where I've been kind of known to people kind of know who I am. So I think in the first place, I think my stress was maybe not making friends, or no one, like me not getting along with anyone. I think that was the thing. But luckily that was all right. I was worried actually about a few academic things, like writing essays and making sure it's correct, and the sports science element to my degree. I was really nervous about that as well. But I think they're the main two, really.
How do you feel about those things now? So you obviously mentioned you were okay about the finding friends and making friends was easier than you thought, but have you settled into the sort of sports science bit of your degree?
Look, I don't think I'm never going to be 100% with those things, but I think it makes more sense. And ultimately, I think I do understand it more than what I would have. And I've spent time working at it, so I think I do understand it a lot more now. And yes, it put me in a better position, I think, tackling it head on.
Yeah, definitely. And Chloe, what about you? What were your sort of biggest concerns before coming to university?
A little bit similar to Ethan. The kind of like making friends thing I was a bit unsure of. I was like a couple of years older than like the normal age that people like tend to come to uni. But like as we said previously, kind of like putting yourself out there, I joined like sports teams and got to know people on my course quite quickly, and actually it wasn't as big of a issue as I thought it was going to be. It was quite easy to like meet new people and make friends, and as I said, like you're all in the same boat, so you're very understanding of each other. And then like with sports teams, you've all got similar interest, so it's quite easy to just like connect with people really quickly. And then exam stress was a little bit of a worry, because it had been like a couple of years since I'd also sat an exam, but kind of like once you do it, it becomes kind of like second nature again, and you get on with it because you know that you want to do the best that you can, and you just kind of tell yourself like, it's an exam, I'm just going to go in, sit there, do my exam, and I've worked hard for it. So
perfect. Those are great answers, thank you guys. So one that we kind of spoke to a lot of the applicants in applicant groups and things like this, and we find that generally moving away from home or making friends is a massive thing for a lot of people. So we have touched upon already a lot of different ways that you both made friends. One thing that we will maybe touch upon again is sort of any of the sports clubs or societies that you joined. So Chloe, would you like to start and talk about the ones that you ended up joining?
I joined netball because it's a sport I played for years, and it was great. Like it was more or less like straight away within the first week we went and signed up, and we got called for trials, and we got to know we got put on teams quite quickly, and we kind of had a bit of time, especially in first year, to like bond with our team before like we had games or anything, and we got to just like train together. And it was quite nice, like you kind of got to know each other before you suddenly then had to like all play together, and it was like more competition based, so that was quite nice.
And Ethan, did you join any sports teams or societies?
So in my first year I didn't join a society or anything, because I felt it was a bit difficult in a COVID year, so the opportunity didn't really arise. So in my second year then the opportunity came to coach the first team with someone else, so I ended up coaching the first team football team this year.
Nice. And you opted for coaching rather than playing. Did that reflect because of your university course, or was that just kind of what you were more interested in anyway?
I think my playing days are long gone. to be honest. And then yeah, the second thing is I'm here on a coaching degree, so I think coach, don't or work towards what you're trying to achieve, which for me is to be a football coach. So I think work at that and try and get to use it to where I want to be.
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it. So again, you sort of touched upon exams and essays, but what would you say is the main assessment method for your courses, or the ones you kind of have the most? Ethan, are you happy to start on this one? How do you get assessed, basically?
I'd say it's a good mix, mainly between presentations in groups and teams, assignments, so write-ups, essays, and in my first year we had exams, but I've not had any exams this year. But I know on different courses they do have exams, yeah. So I'd say it's a good mix. And obviously we have our practical coaching assessments as well. And I think it's 2 a year, something like that. So yeah.
Cool. And Chloe, how do you get assessed most?
A lot of mine are written assessments because I have the sports science element as well. But we also do things like kind of like group presentations. I've had a couple of like practical assessments where I've been assessed coaching. But I'd probably say like a good 60% of mine are probably written, whether that's like lab reports, essays, or like literature reviews. They're all kind of like written ones.
Yeah. And how have you found those? Did you find it quite a step up from, I know you said you'd been out of sort of education a little while, but did you find it was a step up from A levels or college that you'd done beforehand?
It is a little bit of a step up, but like especially within your first year, you kind of get taught and you come to learn like everything that you need, everything that you're there looking for in an assignment that you do for university. Like they're quite good at gradually like bringing it in so you can learn it and then implement it into your assignments as well.
Yeah, perfect. So this is kind of all about your opinions of what it's like to be a sports student with us. So these are just some quotes that we've had throughout, just from some of our current students, but I'm happy to hear what you guys think and how you have found it being a current student here. Chloe, would you like to start? What's been sort of your overriding feeling of being a sports student?
I think it's great being a sports student. There's always like lecturers around to help you if you've got any questions or you need one-to-one support, and they're always like interested in your sport outside of any practicals you do. Like they're always interested in what you're doing for the sports teams, and there's a good like support network, whether that's like academically or like within your sports, or if you're coaching, like there's just a good like support system throughout.
Perfect. Ethan, have you got anything different that you want to add?
I think there's one thing that sets us apart from other unis, where here you're actually taught by professionals or people that have had a career in their sport. So I think for me, if I want to come somewhere and learn from someone, I'd rather be taught by people who have done it and that were professionals in their industry, because you know that what they're saying is just not out of a handbook. They're teaching you from their experience and what they know. And I think that is probably, for me, if I was making a decision, that is an overriding thing. And I think the wealth of knowledge that you gain from that is professional experience, or professional, what's the word? You learn professionally, so you build professional thoughts. You can criticize professionally and things like that. So I think that is, for me, the best experience. And I think, again, the support, like everyone says, the support is great. And then networking, again, you have access to professional networks where other places cannot offer you that. So for me, I think that's, yeah. That makes a lot of difference.
Yeah, definitely. So touching on the sort of support networks that you guys have spoken about, there's a range of different opportunities for everybody whenever they need any kind of support throughout their time studying here. So students have the option to access these support networks whenever they want. That doesn't have to be straight away when they join us. It could be that they get 18 months into their degree and they suddenly realise they need that extra little bit of help, all of these services are available to everyone basically, and they normally work on an open door policy that allows students to drop in and out whenever they feel that they need that extra support. But always a bit of a struggle, or not a struggle, but a worry when you go to university is kind of knowing if there is that available to you. So we definitely have a massive support service available to every student. So placements, I imagine hopefully both of you go on placements on your course. I will start with Ethan, as you kind of already coached the first team. Does that impact or does that count towards any of your placement hours or anything like that?
Yeah, so that counts as one of my placements. I've had the opportunity to do performance analysis with Chichester City FC, which is obviously two of our lecturers on my course coach over the road, which has then opened up other opportunities for me to be involved in performance analysis and actually run the performance analysis there for next season. So that's another placement. I've started working at Southampton Football Club. It's another one. I've had experience now with the first team at Red Hill as well. So that's another one. So yeah, loads.
Yeah. And have all of these just been during your time here? So in the last sort of 2 years or so?
Yeah. So again, you can see the kind of doors that it's opening for being here.
Perfect. And Chloe, how were the placements, or do you have placements on your course? Is it more optional? How does yours work?
Yeah, so I've done a coaching placement and I did it through the university with the netball club. I coached the twos team this year, and it was great because I know the kind of like the volunteer coaches that they have, and they would help me, and then I would like coach my team, and there's always somebody there to ask if I needed anything, and they would like look at my session plans that I had planned for my team, and they were really like supportive of getting like helping you with your placement. They wanted it to be effective, and actually it went on to like leading me into doing my level 2 for netball for coaching, and that's also run at Chichester. So it's quite nice because I kind of got the support from the coaches, and then it actually pushed me into doing my my level 2 coaching, and it's contributed like quite nicely to my studies as well. When we do kind of like the coaching side of my course, it contributes quite nicely into that as well. So placement's been good.
Yeah. And with your course, Chloe, did you get choice in which sport you wanted to cover, or was it a little bit more structured like Ethan's?
No, we had complete like free reign of where we could go do our coaching placement. I know some people went outside of the university and found like local clubs or did it back at home. I think one girl did athletics, and I've done netball. A couple of the boys have done rugby, football. So we had like complete free reign of what sport we wanted to do. We could do it like across 2 if we wanted to, because it was like one big work placement we had to do. I think someone did swimming. Like we kind of had free reign to do whatever sport we wanted.
Oh, that's really good. So again, sort of looking a bit more at your experiences here, do either of you have sort of a standout moment or a couple times whilst you've been studying here that have sort of really stood out to you and will be memorable moments for a long time? Chloe, would you like to start on this one?
Yeah, definitely playing for Wishy and being a Wishy Ranger is great. It's probably been one of my favourite things, like really being involved with a sports team and kind of the whole like even though you're playing in your sport, the whole university gets involved. Other clubs, other sports want to know how you did. They come and support you. They watch your games, and then you go and support other people as well. And your friends play different sports, and you get to kind of go and watch and have like be involved, even if it's not your sport. So definitely playing for Wishy is a main one.
Yeah. Ethan, have you got anything different that sort of stands out to you?
Yeah, I think the opportunity to see different people come into our environment and give speeches, guest talks, and then seeing how they work and their thoughts on the industry and what we can bring. So I think having people come in and speaking to them and watching them do what we do, I think is amazing. That's another one as well.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. So another sort of, again, any advice or any things that you wish you knew before coming to university, or what you'd recommend someone else? Maybe it might be that you bring more fancy dress or anything? Is there sort of anything that you wish you knew before you came? Ethan, do you want to start on this one?
It's not as scary as it seems. I think that's the main thing. I think there's going to be thousands of people in your position, thousands of people worried about the same thing as you. So I think just be brave and think of it like that. And honestly, everything will be fine, I think.
Yeah, good bit of advice. Chloe, have you got anything that you would sort of wish you knew or anything?
Yeah, get a good laptop before you come to uni. Like, definitely come prepared, and save multiple copies of your work. Don't just save it to your laptop, like memory sticks, just save multiple copies of it, because technology fails you sometimes. So definitely that's something that I wish I'd known before I come to uni.
Perfect. I think we're coming towards the end of our presentation. One final thing that I'll sort of add is that any students, you can talk, any prospective students or anyone interested in our university, you can talk to some of our students online. So if you have any questions at any point, we have loads of students on our website, so you can just have a look at chi.ac.uk/chat. And then also joining applicant groups is a great way of meeting people before you come to university. I don't know if either of you two ended up joining a group or meeting any of your friends beforehand, but it's definitely, it eases you in a little bit more if you just have like one or two familiar faces. So again, we have applicant groups for students starting in September 2022. That's kind of where we've come to the end of it here, but I've got a couple of things that I might expand on if you guys are okay with that. Do either of you, I know Ethan, you do a lot of coaching. Does that count as a job, or do you have a job as well as that? Is any of that a paid role? How do you kind of balance working and studying and coaching in your sense? But yeah, basically, do you have a part-time job alongside studying?
Yeah, so Southampton, so where I coach just younger children just going into schools and doing things like that, and they're quite understanding of my university timetable as well, so that makes it possible, and they will kind of work around me. And when when I'm available to work, they'll put me on for work. If I can't work because I have to study or hand in an assignment, they're really flexible with that. And then the stuff with Chi City as well, Saturdays predominantly, but yeah. I think that's more or less it. But I think you have to make time, I'd say. Make time for both, and then also make time to just do completely nothing and just relax.
Yeah, definitely. Chloe, do you have a job while you're studying?
I do. It's back at home, which is just a little bit past Southampton, so it's just a little bit further than kind of Ethan has to go. And it's quite similar. Like, I tell them when I can work, and they'll schedule me in. And yeah, they're quite like adaptable with my uni schedule. If I do work, it does tend to be like weekends, or I wait till Christmas and Easter. It's not quite coaching, it's a bit more swim. I teach swimming, so, and work at a leisure centre doing a few other things, but it's a little bit, it is like coaching. But I try to do it as much as I can, but you do need to find that like good balance of like getting your work done, working, and then like Ethan said, like having downtime, playing sports, like hanging out with your friends, and just kind of chilling out for a bit.
Yeah. I'll have one final question. How do you find Chichester as a place? So, as well as the university, how do you find Chichester as a city, as a student, that kind of thing? Chloe, do you want to start on this one?
Yeah, I think Chichester is a really nice place. It has a lot more than I think I originally was expecting it to have. Like, even if you just go into town, like the shops and stuff, there's a lot more here than I originally thought that it was going to be. And it's not like too far away from anywhere. Like, if you needed to get anywhere, you can get on the train, or if you've got a car, it's not far to like get to Portsmouth or go anywhere else you wanted to. So it kind of has everything that you need, plus maybe more. So I thought it was quite like a good place. It's quite like a well-rounded place to come to.
Yeah. And Ethan, do you have any opinions on Chichester as a place? How have you found living here?
Quite similar. Everything is close to everything. You can literally walk straight through the middle of town and you've seen everything. But I know that doesn't sound great, but at the same time, it is really ideal because you know, oh, I need to go to the shops. You can literally just get up, go to the shops, and then you're back in under half an hour. And then it then creates an environment where everyone in the town kind of knows everyone. And it's quite a homely feel.
Yeah.
Homely feel, quite nice, welcoming. And yeah, there's never really any issues, is there? So
yeah. Well, do you guys have anything else that you wanted to sort of add in the end, or anything that you haven't touched upon that you would like to say to anyone who might want to apply here, or anything like that? Feel free to say it now. If not, that's also absolutely fine.
I don't think so.
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, like you've mentioned so many good things throughout in terms of making sure you visit universities, make sure that they feel right for you and stuff like that. And I think that's kind of the most important part when it comes to deciding where to go. But yeah, generally, thank you guys for joining us today, and thank you for giving us all of the insight into your time